So pull this board out, got to lift that one out. This one goes to the display driver. There's only 175 volts coming through this cable. So be careful of that. Now this one is actually not a connector that goes through the bottom and it hooks up to the other side, so you've got to lift it off the other side, which comes to the digital board. So I have to unhook it from here. This is what tells it what to do. I've already checked this battery voltage and it's absolutely fine. 3.7 volts, it's like it's almost like it's a new one. Really, it's really good. So I don't have to do anything with that. When I did the other Datrons, I actually tested the battery and just to see how much capacity it still had left in it. It still had heaps. I was really surprised. There was loads left in it. I could have left it in there, it would have lasted another 10 years probably. It's quite amazing. So that needs to come out of there. So all I've got to do now is take a few screws out, and I've got these little clips here which hold this end down. So I was really hoping that I wouldn't get a Datron with a blown display, or broken display, you know, but obviously it's inevitable if you buy enough of these things, eventually you're going to get a broken display. It's just my fourth one, is it? I think it's my fourth or fifth one, I've lost count. Something like that. So that's all off, now I've got to take those clips off. There we go. Right, that's the board out. I don't know if you ever noticed, but when I put down things like this, I always touch the desk first with my fingers to make sure that it's not passing through the board. Just a little precaution I do. Interesting, there's a really slight bit of discolouring just around here. Just very slight. When I was doing the thermal camera testing, it did show as a being hotspot around here. So that is because that 175 volt supply got the Zener diode just over here and associated resistors, so that is obviously getting warm because of all that section. It's almost barely perceivable, but it's just a little bit there. It's very slightly brown. So anyway, it's a good thing I'm disabling that part of the circuit. It doesn't really do any good, does it? So I need to reference myself here and figure out what I'm doing. So that link's got to come out and go to a 0 volt rail, which I think was this pad just here. So there's the Zener, which drops, that's got a 75 volt Zener, and that goes between the minus 75 volt rail at this end and, can't remember now from memory, but this one here, that pad there, I think was 0 volt pad. I need to double check that. It's going to the end pin of there. It's coming along here, coming over here somewhere. I'm pretty sure that pad there was a 0 volt pad. Yeah, that one goes to it as well. So that's right. So all I'll do is take this link here out, probably just fold it over to the 0 volt side over here, and that would create that 0 volt link, which is all I need to do the conversion from minus 175 to 0 volts for the drive. Then we've just got to do the resistors. So I've got to move this link here. I've got to figure out which side I've got to lift so I can get that the right way around. So little trick here, use a torch. So R41, this end, is the pull down to the minus 175 rail. There's a Zener, and there's the link that goes between. Goes to there, and they're all arrayed. They're all arrayed on the back. There's a common rail right there across all those. So that will be. So the link is here, from that pad to this one. So from there to there, that goes through to this rail here, which has got all the resistors and stuff on it. And that side goes to the socket. So this side here will be the side I've got to lift off. So I lifted that link up. I need to put that to a 0 volt rail. I might actually just put a new link in actually. Do it nicely, put a little big wire loop in so it's a bit more obvious, been modified. I'll do that. Get this link here out. I'll clean the hole out after. Okay, cool. So just put a big link in there, which is quite obvious. So it's obvious it's been modified. I want to try and make things obvious that'd be modified. Actually, I wonder if I should trace around the negative rail. I've got the negative over here. See if I can pinpoint exactly where it goes to. It's interesting, it's got some unpopulated parts in here. I wonder what they're supposed to be for. Maybe they're for the other versions. Anyway, just to make sure there's definitely a negative on that side. So there's negative there on that and that there. There we go. Yep, dead short. That's sweet. So it's definitely a negative pad right there, so I'll just jump up to that one. And you just read into the black, sorry. Yeah. So to make sure that it's obvious it's been changed. That's the only reason I'm using it. instead of blank. Yes, and I'm not using any flux yet. Oftentimes I don't find I need to that much. Let's just check that. Should have left it on turn on, shouldn't I? Make sure it's definitely a good connection between that rail and here. Is that right? No, this rail. So the probe on the right side would be helpful. Yeah, that's good. So that's that part done. That was the easy bit. So I have to change, was it these resistors here? We'll swap those out for links. So I was tempted to just put a link straight across the back of each one, isn't it? Tempting. So I need to pull these resistors here out, those three, and all this group here. All that's got to be pulled out and replaced with jumpers instead. So we'll get onto that. This is when something like this comes in really handy. As noisy as it is, it's really handy. I may need to put more solder on to get them out. Sometimes you don't need to. Hope these all fall out. This one there's been a bit tricky. Yep, a couple there which aren't quite out. It's like around the middle there I didn't do a very good job getting these ones out. Okay, that's what I resistors out. There's supposed to be jumpers in there. I was just making little jumpers from here, so a bit of bent wire, form a resistor leg, put that in there, push it down so it's pushed right through, bend the end over. Next one. Yeah, I would like one of those formers for bending the resistor legs over. Get one of those things, it'd make doing these little jumpers really easy. Once you know what size you want, you can just repeat it over and over again and then drop them all in. Slightly long process this one. Alright, there's those three. Just solder those three in, I'll carry on with the rest. I don't have to show you the whole lot. So I put all the links in, got to put some flux on already, and I'm going to solder them all up. I could get my brush, but it's on the shelf and I can't bother reaching up that high. I'm just joking. I'll get the brush. Make sure there's no bridges. Little bits of straight clippings lying around. It's looking alright. Check the other side. Then the flux off this side as well. So now we've got to change all of these resistors here. So that one there, all the way through to this one, just not the very end one. Although I could take that one out too, it wouldn't actually matter, because that was part of that 175 volt rail, well, minus 175 volt rail. I keep forgetting to say the minus part, that's quite important. I could take them all out actually and just leave that last one unpopulated. It wouldn't really matter. I could just leave it. It's not going to matter. Now it's got a 0 volt link instead. That doesn't actually matter anymore. It's curious the way I've done that. Actually, there's a slight oddity here. Where they've done the rail on the back, they didn't actually continue it all the way along, so you've got the rail here for all these resistors, and it stops here. But on the front, then it links across. That's weird. Why don't they just carry that rail there along? Just here. Strange. Okay, one's already fallen out. It is a little bit of a shame that I had to convert the voltages on this whole rail as well. It would have been nice to actually just use the original 175 volt rail and not have to mess about with all this stuff. But I mean, that could have been possible. But I didn't want to have 175 volts going there anymore. If it doesn't need to be there, then get rid of it. Alright, we'll clean those holes out. I'll be sitting there trying to figure out why I can't get a part in there. I'll have to put more solder on to clear them out. As counterintuitive as that is. All good, all clear. Right, that bit done. So I'm going to put some 150 ohm resistors in here. And you'll need 2, 4, 6, 8. So hopefully this will give enough drive to get enough brightness out. We'll find out. They should do. I'll be surprised if they don't. Just depends on the switching of the transistors as well and that sort of stuff. So I think there's a Chinese parts. His legs feel awfully thin. They probably are 150 ohms. Probably are. At least this is the easy bit, putting these in. And yes, I'm trying to make sure they're all the same way around, just to keep the OCD happy. You have to do that. And yes, I will be trying to get them all lined up as well. Trying. We'll see how we go. They'll be kind of lined up. I'm not really too fussy about that part. I worry about the colours being the same, so it's easy to read rather than whether they line up together. But I will mess with it anyway, just to be sure that it's tidy. I want it to be tidy. They're kind of tidy. See how these solder. See if it's okay with that flux or not. Yeah, this can need some flux. Okay. Trade off for that is more noise. Well, this flux for ages. It's expired. It's expired in 2016. Still works absolutely fine. This is Antec NC559 V2 TF for Tachyflux. Maybe it makes it harder to clean off, but it seems to flow just fine and it works really nicely. I'm not too worried about the parts hanging off the board a little bit, so there's a bit of clearance. If anything, it's a good thing, whether you've got resistors which are going to be having current going through them. Starts them getting hot and damaging the board if they were to overheat for some reason. Which probably shouldn't do anyway, not that much current. Look, there's a whole bunch of wire leads I could have used to do the jumpers. Maybe I should have done these ones first. And the other side. Looks like that's all done. Happy with the look of that, looks fine. So before I move on, I'm going to put this board back in again. I almost forgot I'm swapping out this capacitor that was here, this 250 volt cap, which is 10 microfarad. I'm changing it to a 47 microfarad 100 volt cap voltage doesn't matter, but it's 47 microfarad, so that's what I'm going to shove in here. Just to give it a bit of an improvement in storage capacity, because it's got a drive for LEDs now instead, it might require a bit more power. So I thought I'd swap it out with that and see how that goes. Actually, I changed my mind. I'm going to put in a 330 microfarad, 16 volt, because this is basically now just across the supply rail. So all it's really doing is reinforcing the supply, which has got some tantalum on here for, which is doing a little bit anyway. So this is going to be between 0 volt rail and the 5 volt rail, effectively. So all I'm really doing is making it a bit more robust. So that's what I'll do. I'm going to put this one in instead. So it's a 330. There shouldn't be any harm in going big on this one. I've probably got it in the right around. We'll find out when I turn it on, I suppose. Pop the clips down, make sure it's not getting hooked up. Pull these screws back in again. It's usually when you got these little washers, when you put the last screw in, you drop it and it goes into somewhere awkward, you have to completely strip it down again. Happens so many times. It's always the last one, every time. So if you start the last one first, then you should be right. I'm sure Ian knows what I'm talking about. I'm not tightening it, I'm just putting all the parts inside there aligned. Okay, let's plug this in. Plug the driver back into the main board, because if I forget to do that, we'll be wondering why it doesn't work. Right, now to the point we've got to take the display out.